So Spurs got the number 2 pick. Many think it's going to be Dylan Harper, but who else could it be?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Friday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. TGIF, everybody. You made it through the work week, and we'll have some fun on a Friday. We're going to be talking all things silver and black right here on Los. What are we talking about today? You see on your screen. Who else could go number 2? Everybody says Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper. We get that. It probably is going to be that way. But what if the Spurs throw a curveball and decide to keep the pick, but pick somebody else? Who are some of the candidates who make sense at number 2 for your San Antonio Spurs? They would play a game buy or sell. Should the Spurs flip that number 2 pick? Yeah, lots to talk about right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, before we continue, today's episode is brought to you by Picks. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA. Get yourself $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Yeah, so, the NBA Combine is on right now, and there was reported via ESPN that the Spurs are letting other teams know that we're going to go with Harper. We're going to go with Harper. And by the way, no trades. So there's that, right? But what if that's just all, just position chess game that the Spurs are playing? What if they have somebody else in mind? Now, who could that be? In a deep draft, could the Spurs go in a win-win situation if they pass on Dylan Harper? Let's talk about that and more. He is back, everybody. By the way, he has the one of the biggest appetites I've ever seen. You know what he had for breakfast, everybody? Fries and a shake from Whataburger. I mean,
two orders of fries, a shake, and 2 honey butter chicken biscuits.
What do you put it, dude? What do you put it? You're like real thin. You're real thin. Look at that.
It's all right here.
It's all right there. Yeah, it's oozing over when you sit down and breathe out.
I know. I feel bloated.
Yeah. That is the Breakfast of Champions, everybody. In case you don't know who he is, and you should, but you don't, he is James Playfair with San Antonio Sports Star. Following him on X at I Am Pleasure. He is the host of Extra Innings. He also helps run The Blitz, all those great content programs out there at the Star. He'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Pleasure, something to tell me, this is you in this time of year, right? And there's this draft, lottery, mock drafts. Even you're having fun with San Antonio First Bands on the Star, social media, putting out these wild packages.
The mock trades are wild. Because I'm literally just cultivating them. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And we even said on air, wow, this looks like a lot for Giannis Antetokounmpo, but let's see what people say. People are adamantly against anything that isn't basically stealing. Unless you are literally stealing the player for, Malachi Branham and some second-round picks, no matter who it is, they don't want to do it. And to me, that's a little crazy. Like sometimes you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet every once in a while. But like even I get it. Like our Giannis trade, there was a lot that was given up, and you can see those at SA Sports Star on Instagram, Twitter. There's a Laurie Markkinen one, involves the number 2 pick with both of them. People don't want to give up that number 2 pick. I mean, it's a lot like the Atlanta pick. Nobody wanted to give up this year's Atlanta pick. Now they're like 14, give it away. Who cares? Use that to go get Giannis.
Yeah.
Milwaukee will take 14 and a second-round pick and like it.
Yeah, they'll take 14, Blake Wesley and James Pleasure's breakfast meal. I mean, that's what they want. Yeah.
Whoa. I don't know if I'm willing to part with that.
Yeah, see, proof right there. You see? And that's one egg that Pleasure won't break, and that is his breakfast when it comes to deals. But anyway, James.
The only broken egg is on my breakfast sandwich.
There you go. Yeah. So, James, you're here to help us ask the question, what if it's not Dylan Harper? Everybody's saying he's the consensus number 2. It's going to be him. It's going to be fun. But we've seen the Spurs do crazier things. Should I remind you about Josh Primo? He was projected to not even be.
Please, don't. I had just forgotten about that, Jeff.
How about this? Passing on Halliburton for Vassell. So there's that. But nevertheless, look, you know, this is the deep
Oh
draft.
God, I loved Halliburton that year.
This is a deep draft. You know, it definitely goes about, would you say about 5 or 6 guys straight before it starts getting into more contributor
Yeah,
kind of
once you get
vibe?
into the 5 area,
Yeah.
it falls off a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's more projects like Trey Johnson, like great upside, but also a bit of a projection of growth with him. Like the guys that you're figuring for superstardom are probably 2 to 3 deep. After that, like VJ Edgecombe, who's going very high from Baylor. Also, a bit of a projection on him developing into something, his shot coming around. Like he's very athletic, very, but can he become what you think he can become? And I think that's the big thing with a lot of this. There are 2 to 3 slam dunks of like, okay, I think, Cooper Flagg's going to be a dude. I think Dylan Harper's going to be a dude. I think AJ Bailey or Ace Bailey can be a dude. After that, everything kind of like there are tiers. There's Cooper in a tier by himself. Then there's Harper seemingly in a tier by himself. Then right behind him, I think, is Ace Bailey, maybe VJ Edgecombe. And then after that, it's like Trey Johnson and Malachi and a bunch of the other, Con Kneppel, who I think is going to be a great 10-year pro. I don't think he's going to be an all-star or anything like that, but he is going to be that player like, Luke Kennard or, the player that everybody wants on a championship team, Bogdan Bogdanovic, like one of those kind of players that, is a spot up, knockdown, 3-point shooter that I'll tell you what, the Spurs could absolutely use.
Can they? Yes. Can they? All right. So when I asked the question, all right, if the Spurs don't go Dylan Harper, who else could they get? You said the name right there. I think I got 2 guys
Which one?
on that list right there. I'm off with Edgecombe. You look at some of the mock drafts, he at his position, the shooting guard, they have him as positional rank number 1, according to some mock drafts. I think he's the best. They feel he's the best shooting guard in this draft. 34% shooting from the 3 line, 15 points per game, 5.6 rebounds last season with Baylor. I think this kid at the position the Spurs need some help in, that swing shooting guard area, I think he'll fit in quite nicely for the Spurs. I don't think 2 is too high for him, but nevertheless, I like what Edgecombe can bring to San Antonio, and I think he could definitely make a bigger impact immediately because of the pieces around him. Look, Victor make everybody better. We get that. He'll make you and me look good on the court. We're out there with.
I get it. I like Edgecombe. I like some of the things he can bring. I like Ace Bailey. I like some of the things he can bring. I like Con Kneppel. I like some of the things he can bring. And I like Kaman Malak and some of the things that he can bring.
Yeah.
I'm going to preface this, and I preface this on my show. Don't overthink things. Don't draft for need when you're at the top of the NBA draft. That is a surefire way to mess things up. Remember, the 76ers and the Golden State Warriors drafted for need, not best player. They ended up going with Markelle Fultz and James Wiseman, and then at the 3rd overall pick, the Boston Celtics landed Jason Tatum. Look at Kevin Durant. I'll use 2 different iterations of the Portland Trailblazers. They already had Clyde Drexler. They didn't want Michael Jordan, so they took Sam Bowie. How did that work out for them? If you take a look at the later iteration, they wanted a big that could play down low because they had Brandon Roy and other scorers on that team. They passed on Kevin Durant. How did that work out for them when they went with Greg Oden instead? Like, you don't.
And it seems that's exactly what the Spurs are going to be doing if the report via ESPN is correct, that they're going to pick Harper at 2, and they're okay having Fox, Castle, and Harper on the same team. I mentioned VJ Edgecombe, who else do you think a guy could be at 2 and is worthy to be selected at 2?
Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey is the only other guy at 2 I think you could go. He is, I know we measured about 3 inches shorter than his listed weight. I mean, at 6'7", he still gives you that versatile floor spacing, wing 3-4 that this team kind of needs, at least to, if not to take over when, Harrison Barnes' time is done at the 4-3 area. But, you're coming up on Jeremy Sohan's contract. Is he worth the money that is going to be asked of it? Is he going to be the $20 to $30 million guy that comes off the bench or starts for this team the way that Vassell and Keldon are? And 2 is the maximum. Dylan Harper is the maximum value you can have. By passing on him, you just give someone a pass. If somebody wants Harper bad enough, they're going to trade up for him. Maximize this asset in any way that you can if you're not going to take it, whether it's getting a proven player or whether it is getting a proven player and moving back a couple of spaces in the draft. Whatever it may be, maximize the value of this pick, because there are 2 things we know are certain that can maintain value in the NBA. Having a pick with a known player and like after the draft is set, the way it is now, everybody knows these are the players coming out. This is where the drop off is in the talent. If that pick that people want to get to a certain player, like everybody knows Cooper Flagg's going 1. If everybody is in love with Dylan Harper, as that people say they are, all of a sudden that pick holds massive value, more value than it would if you would have been picking 8 or 5. Or whatever, right? The fact that the second best player in this draft, once he is there, penciled in and available, that pick skyrockets in value. The only other thing that has more value than that is the unknown quantity of an unprotected future first, the way we have with Atlanta, the one nobody wanted to give up that fell to 14. Like now it is a worthless commodity. Last year, 3 months ago, 2 weeks ago, very valuable commodity, right? Because it's unknown. Now that it has a known property to it, it is less valuable. The only way that thing becomes more valuable if it's that known quantity is something big like a Dylan Harper. And so there are 2 ways in the NBA picks have value. They're either an unknown quantity or the value of that quantity is known, absolute known. And people want whatever that value is. Because once it falls out of those top prospects, it's no longer as valuable.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to continue this topic about the number 2 pick. We're going to be asking in a while. I think James already answered it, but he'll get a chance to expand on it. Should the Spurs flip it, buy or sell? Also, what other names? Who else is out there on the list, the mock draft you see that could possibly go at number 2? We're going to be discussing that in just a few minutes with James Pledger at San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on X at @IamPledger. You got to do that ASAP. But first, I want to talk to you about Prize Picks.
Basketball season is at its peak, and with playoffs heating up, now is the time to put your sports knowledge to work with Prize Picks, the top platform for daily fantasy sports. Prize Picks makes it easy. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. Whether it's points, rebounds, or assists, you got a shot to win up to 2,000 times your entry. Look, Tuesdays are even better. They got Taco Tuesday, where player projections are discounted up to 25% for even more value. You can even look at the app because it takes less than 60 seconds to use, and you can love how much you can mix and match basketball players with other sports like baseball or esports in the same lineup. Download the app today. Use code LOCKONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Oh, hey, this is Morty Smith and Cheese. You are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia on Cheese.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs. During the break, you see Pledger had himself a little snack there, some breakfast French fries. It's the same thing, right, Pledger? I mean, are we like French fries for breakfast?
It's a hash brown.
It's a hash brown. Exactly. He is with San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on X again at I Am Pleasure. He is host of Extra Innings. More on that in just a few minutes. We're talking about the Spurs, the number 2 pick. Who else could be at number 2 should the Spurs decide not to go with Harper? Although all signs are pointing to that happening. But what if there was a curveball? We'll find out. All right, so I threw out BJ Edgecombe. You threw out Ace Bailey. I'm going to throw out another one. Do you think Trey Johnson would be a smart pick for the Spurs at 2? Look at some of the numbers. 39% shooting from the 3-line last season, 19.9 points per game at Texas. Your thoughts?
I love him. No. If you're not picking at 2, find the person that wants Harper and trade with them. If you want Bailey or whoever at 3 or 4 or 5, sure. But 2 holds so much value. Like I said in the last segment, don't overthink things. Don't get cute. That's how you end up with James Wiseman. That's how, don't mess this up. You've got Harper in the bag. Other people are going to want him. Figure out what you want and then figure a way to maximize the value to get what you want. If your preferred player is someone else, find a team that wants to come up to 2. And I guarantee you, 3 or 4 or 5, whether it's Utah or Philly or Charlotte, they're all going to want to move up. Everybody that missed out on the lottery on the top 4 wants up there. Figure out a way to maximize the value that you hold by holding the Dylan Harper pick. It's like if we were in Dallas and we were like, well, who are the other players other than Cooper Flagg? There are no other players other than Cooper Flagg. Move back if you don't want Cooper Flagg. Maximize the value of said pick. There are ways to go about things, and if BJ Edgecombe is your guy, move back 1 spot. I guarantee you, they're going to want to move up to get him.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at the Spurs sitting at number 2, it feels like they're in a win-win situation. It's you get Harper or you trade it, either down or out for a proven commodity. The Spurs are sitting really well, but I want to focus more on Harper now because it feels like he is going to be the guy that they're going to pick.
It does. And we got reports of that yesterday from ESPN draft analyst Jonathan Gaboni. He was 99.9% the Spurs are taking Harper. They think they can make it work. And then later on that draft combine coverage, you heard one of the analysts on the panel say, he was talking off mic with a Spurs executive. And he said, "We're back, baby."
No, they are. They are absolutely back.
That's the feeling inside the building over there at the Rock. They feel they are back because of what they have in terms of what's on the roster plus what this pick means.
Yeah.
You're not saying that if you're picking 5 or 8, you feel good, but I don't know if you're we're back because the value that 2 holds gives you so many options, whether that's trading for a Giannis or a Laurie or a massive, massive star. Kevin Durant's name was been brought up. And I know Spurs fans hate all of these ideas and including the number 2 pick with any of them, no matter who they are. This is a playoff team or bust. If you don't make it this season, it's a failure.
Yeah, it is. It is. It absolutely is. And I'm looking at the layout of the division alone. Pleasure. Dallas likely to get Flagg. Spurs will have Wemby, Castle, Fox, and possibly Harper.
Flagg to pair with AD and when healthy, Kyrie.
Thank you. And then you got Houston, who's on the up, who's coming up. All right. I mean, my goodness. Those Texas teams right there are going to be powerhouses.
And they may go after Jaylen Brown or Giannis Antetokounmpo this offseason.
Yeah, exactly. So the Texas teams, man, they're sitting pretty. And we can see some Texas dominance in the NBA in the coming years.
And it's not just the Texas teams. You mentioned those guys. Think about the West as a whole.
Oh, I know.
With what everybody's added. And especially Giannis or Jaylen Brown or Derek White end up in the West. Just the West. Is there a way that we can trade the number 2 pick to get into the Eastern Conference?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Like I would feel so much better about our
awesome.
chances if we're in the East.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I look at.
Can we trade the number 2 pick to switch conferences?
Yeah, hey, you know what? Historically, the Spurs started out in the Eastern Conference way back in the day, before they
did
the Western Conference. Yeah, but number 2 likely going to be Dylan Harper. We get that. We look at the fit. It makes all the sense in the role. Pick and roll. His ability to shot create.
Well,
his ability
I don't know if the fit makes sense, but the talent makes sense.
The talent fits. Yeah, well, the talent fits with the current roster, like the makeup, like the players around him. Wemby and him will feed off each other. I mean, look, it's going to be awesome. And look, the Spurs will figure it out if they do keep number 2 and Harper moving forward. But my God, I mean, this is woo. I mean, you could be out of this.
You're excited. I can tell you're super excited about this.
I am. I just feel like the 7 year drought of no play-in, no playoffs is about to come to an end, like next season, whether it's a play-in berth or a playoff.
It better.
Yeah. And even if they did not get the number 2 pick, I still think that should be the goal next season, play-in or playoffs. So there he is. But
has any team ever won 3 consecutive Rookie of the Years?
I don't think so. I think that would be
because that is a possibility.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Flag would just have to look horrible on that court, but man.
No, I mean, Flag can still look great. Yeah. And Harper can be equally as great. And, they're going to go probably with the team that was worst that elevates. Like if that rookie helps to elevate that team.
Oh, I see.
And so
I think that would have gone to Jared McCain if he.
I'm saying it's a possibility.
Yeah, exactly. He is James Pleasure with San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on X at I Am Pleasure, host of Extra Innings on San Antonio Sports Star. We're going to be discussing that and a lot more, but we're going to finish the game, or this episode with a game, buy or sell with Pleasure when we get back. But first, I want to talk to you about Game Time.
There's nothing like the NBA playoffs, the intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live, and this year's matchups are already delivering. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Game Time is a total game changer. Look, you got the Celtics versus Knicks. That's a hot game series right now. And with that, you can get zone deals where they're offering 60% off in great selections. Just look on that app and find those great deals. The app makes it ridiculously simple. 2 taps and you're done. And with Game Time Guarantee, you know you're getting the best deal. If you find a better price in the same row and section, they'll even credit you 110% of the difference. Can't beat that. And again, no surprises. See the exact views before you buy. Hey, you want to go to Game Time right now. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
As the new leader of the Decepticons, I command you to subscribe to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by the one and the only James Pleasure, San Antonio Sports Star's very own. Follow him on X at I Am Pleasure, and ask him about his breakfast meal. Shakes, plural, French fries, and what did you get?
Honey butter chicken biscuit.
Honey butter chicken biscuit. Look at that. Just eating on the job there at the Star right now. Well, let's continue our chat and wrap it up right here on Locked On Spurs with the game of buy or sell. Now, Pleasure pretty much answered this throughout the show here, but we'll get his final thoughts on it. Buy or sell?
We're gonna buy.
Should flip number 2. You're gonna buy it.
Ooh, flip it?
Yeah.
It is extremely dependent on what they get in return.
Okay.
I will sell because I want to think about this team and its future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are we building a championship team, or are we building a team that we think can be, dynastic in the way that the Spurs were before.
Mhm.
And, we see how fleeting these championship windows can be. Look at the Celtics right now. Like, they're already looking to blow it up after one title. Like, they're small, they're fleeting. I mean, look at the Nuggets and the problems they're going through since winning a title. Look at what's happened to the Milwaukee Bucks. One title, one finals appearance, and all of a sudden they are in just a horrible situation. They gave up a bunch of first-round picks for Drew Holiday, and they gave up a bunch of first-round picks for Dame Lillard. Now Drew Holiday's not even on the roster anymore, even though the Pelicans have those picks. And Dame Lillard is a 34-year-old coming off of a massive Achilles injury that you don't know he's going to be the same. And Giannis is looking around like Will Smith and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at the end going, do I want to be here anymore? Like, the house is empty. And so now all of a sudden, like the windows, we are so spoiled with this 20-year run from Tim, Tony, and Manu that, like, holy crap, it's I don't know if that's repeatable because it'd never been done before that. And I don't know that you don't want to at least try to repeat that, though. And this young talent you have coming in, Castle, he won Rookie of the Year. Is he the next big thing, or is he Michael Kidd-Gilchrist? Like, he was a Rookie of the Year too. So you gotta either continually stack and then figure out what your core is. Like, maybe your core is Wemby, Castle, and Harper. And after Fox's first contract, you allow him to walk after you re-sign him this off season, and then 4 years later, but like, I think the more young, like high-end talent you have, the longer you can keep that window open. And if you do this, even with that, if it doesn't work, you can flip it later if they're impressive. And so it would take a whole hell of a lot for me to move off to now. So I'm gonna sell it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna sell it too. I think the possibility of drafting one of the most dynamic players in this draft added to what you already have in San Antonio is too tempting. Also, too, like you mentioned, you took the words right out of my mouth. You can flip it later if for some reason it doesn't work out. So the Spurs are in a good spot. And it's bringing a player who can impact this team immediately and get them out of this play-in playoff drought ASAP. But hey, we're done talking. We got to hear from you. What do you think about the number 2 pick? If they don't go Harper, who should they go get? Leave us your thoughts over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Leave a comment, read it in a future episode. You let James know your thoughts on his takes on the Stars social media page. I think it's on X at SA Sports Star. And then, of course, his personal Twitter is at I Am Pledger. Speaking of the Star, you got extra innings, you got the blitz, you got so much going on there. What's cooking, guy?
Oh, man, so much, especially with this number 2 pick and the multitude of possibilities that the Spurs hold at their hands in terms of the future of this team, whether it's going and getting somebody, these mock trades that we've seen, just how the Spurs are going to build this roster this offseason. We're talking about it all. The NFL schedule was just released. Like, how does that affect the Texans, the Cowboys, other teams in the NFL? Who's traveling too much? Who's got a very beneficial schedule? Like, these are all great things to talk about. What trips are you planning? Like, when the NFL schedule comes out, one of the first things I do outside of finding out what a bye week is, what games am I going to? When am I traveling and where am I traveling to? And so we love talking about stuff like that with y'all, whether that's on X at I Am Pledger, at SA Sports Star, whether it's on Instagram, or if you're calling into the shows. We got the Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob from 6 to 10. Of course, I'm producing the Blitz with Jason and Joe from 2 to 6. And you can always call me directly at I Am Pledger during Extra Innings with Pledge from 6 to 7. And we can talk about it all because I am a man of the people and I love to chat with my people.
Exactly. Again, follow him on X at I am Pleasure. He's also the only man I've ever seen put the fear in One Punch Man. So there's that. Really.
That's a good one. That's a good
He
one.
wanted to do that. Yeah, and actually make One Punch Man sweat. Again, he is with San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on X at I am Pleasure. Everybody else, we'll be back tomorrow. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. No, tomorrow we're off. That's right. See you on Monday. That's right. We'll see you on Monday as the Spurs offseason continues. Drafts, talk, lottery. I mean, the whole thing. We're going to be discussing it here on Locked On Spurs. Of course, anything else that pops up between now and then. And you guys are the everydayers. Continue coming here every day to Locked On Spurs. So for James Pleasure, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.